Okay, let's start with the judgment which happened almost a week today, where the Supreme Court upheld the judgment of their Court of Appeal, including the tribunal, saying that Dr. Alex Otti remains the governor of Abia State. How does the governor feel? What is his feeling in the aftermath of that judgment?
The governor's feeling is along with the feelings of Abia. The same feeling of excitement, the same feeling of, rejuvenation. Because as far as we are concerned, like I've always said, like I was saying even before, long before the judgment came, that we were not perturbed, we were not frightened, we were not bothered, because we won the election and won it convincingly. The people took the mass and cast their vote for their governor, unanimously elected him. So, yes, some persons were entertaining fears because of the so-called, or let me say the Nigerian factor in parenthesis. So some people were, but we weren't panicking. We were in charge. It was election we won, and we were vigilant not to allow those, since we could not allow them to steal the mandate, while the vote was going on, when the results were being collated and announced, and there was no reason we were going to allow them steal it through the courts. So we just feel rejuvenated to do the needful to serve our people better, to bring dividends of democracy to the doorsteps of Abia. So
you're simply saying that the demeanor of the governor during this period was that of calmness and tranquility.
Absolutely, wisdom. If you followed our activities, and like I said here, in one of the occasions I appeared, I said, we weren't complaining. We never said, we are not working, we are not serving the people because we were being distracted. We never accused the opposition of distracting us. We never resorted to complaining. They are doing this, no. On many occasions, they staged press conferences, leveled all kinds of false allegations, which you already know. They accused us of using the state funds to finance Mr. P2B's litigations in courts. The essence of that press conference was to incite the federal government against us. It was a, kindergarten political strategy. Meanwhile, like I've always said, the same people that were trying to lay claim or P2B, they were trying to own P2B during the election. They even wrote articles telling P2B it was our collective project. He shouldn't allow Alex Otti to deceive him, all kinds of things. Then after the election, they abandoned P2B, fabricated all kinds of things, accused us of using the state funds to finance P2B. So that alone tells you the type of character we had. They also did the one that accused us of sponsoring IPOB. So the only time we responded was just to respond to all those things. But as panicking, we never panicked. We were never frightened.
The governor, in the aftermath of the ruling on Friday last week, has been quoted as saying that victory belongs to Abians. And I want to ask you if you think this will embolden his resolve to drive home the true dividends of democracy.
Yes, of course he has made that promise. It would strongly embolden his resolve, his determination and desire to serve in Abia better. Like I said, that we weren't complaining does not mean one way or the other. You understand? At least you know that this chapter is gone. You are facing governance to the fullest. So, and with the excitement, because there is also an advantage you get from this kind of thing. Those who were, hopeful in one way or the other that it was going to go the other way. Those who, one way or the other, were still trying to sabotage the government. Those who were not sure where they were, who wanted to be sure where the pendulum was going to swing to, would automatically withdraw completely now and know that there is a government devoid of any question mark, devoid of any litigation from anywhere. So people will naturally align. And like we make claim, we are ready to work with everyone. This is our state. That has always been my position. This state belongs to everyone. We will embrace everyone to develop our state. A whole lot of things are happening.
Let me quickly interject, if you don't mind, and ask you this particularly pertinent question. It has to do with what the governor said. I think still in the immediate aftermath of that ruling, he said that he had written to those of them who were contesting his position as the governor of Abia State prior to the Supreme Court, telling them why not withdraw, why not come back and let us have a discussion, channel these funds to develop our own part of the state. That will be equally helping governance to an extent, and that didn't happen. It wasn't to be, and they actually proceeded to the Supreme Court, and we know where we are at this moment. Is the governor willing to perhaps extend an olive branch to these persons to say, come, let us build a new Abia together? Is he ready and willing to have an inclusive government where these persons who were protagonists of different parties, the opposition as we speak, can contribute their quota to build the state of our dreams?
Of course. The governor is very, very willing. Yes, there were people who didn't go to court who were already working with the governor. There were people who were aspirants in some other political parties who already have fantastic relationship with the governor. One of the candidates who didn't go to court is already working strongly with the governor. So a lot of people from different parts of the states are disposed to working with the governor. So the governor is disposed to also embracing those who took him to court. But then Abia is bigger and beyond every individual. There were people who didn't run election, not because they didn't have the resources to run, not because they didn't have the intellectual wherewithal, not because they didn't have whatever was required to mobilize and say, I want to run election, or I'm running, for an elective office. Those people are also human beings. They have knowledge, they have experiences, they have things to contribute. So the development of Abia is not limited to the inputs or ideas of politicians. It's across board. So we are embracing everybody. It's our state. Collective, engagement is what is required to develop our state.
Let's talk about one of the things, presumably, that the governor was doing while the litigation was ongoing. And I'm talking about the first Abia modular refinery, which, according to the Commissioner for Information and Culture, talking about Prince Okekano, he said that 2025 it's going to come on stream. This may come as a surprise to some Abians who would have thought, okay, how did we get here? What is ongoing? What's the extent of job done there? And what should we anticipate come 2025?
Well, when we talk about it, we're just referring to what is happening at Abia, Industrial Innovation Park at Owaza, West Local Government Area of Abia State. It's not limited to the refinery. There are other investments that are coming there. Okay. There are notable investors from different fields of life that are showing interest. And we're not taking what is happening there. The AIP project, we're not taking it for granted, because it is going to open up the state. It's going to create massive employment opportunities. So the modular refinery project is a very serious one, because there is a way the government is operating as far as that place is concerned. If you say you're an investor, you are expected to make some commitments. You buy land, you make some commitments with government. It's a PPP thing. Government has very little interest there. It's private sector driven. Of course, the community people have a certain percentage because they come from there, they own the land and all those things, even though the lands are being bought. So the government is intensifying efforts to ensure that the modular refinery project comes on stream in 2025, and we are very serious about it. Because if you look at even the area of infrastructure, a lot of measures have been taken to ensure that the environment is made conducive for investment, because a whole lot of other people from different parts of the country and the world are still showing interest. What we want to do is to create the enabling environment. Of course, if you have been to that place, you will know that there is no road. The place is in a very terrible condition. So the government is going to award a road project to a reputable construction company that will build, very solid road leading to the place. Security measures are being put in place, and of course that is why the government is intensifying serious effort in its onslaught against those involved in oil bunkering and other illegal activities. Also, the governor, through the Honorable Commissioner for Power and Public Utility, Engineer Kechuku Monde, who is very vast, very experienced in that field, is also doing enough to ensure that power is brought to that place, that we have stable power supply, because whatever you say you want to do there, whatever industrialization you say you want to do there, without power, you will just be wasting your time. So measures are being put in place to ensure that something extraordinary happens. There's so much time, energy, and resources are being committed. So it's not some of one of these elephant projects you just initiate. You do groundbreaking and you disappear, and nobody has anything against. So
I don't think it will be out of place to ask you some of the multinational companies who are willing to work with the Abia State government to make the AIP a reality. If you don't mind,
I will not bring the list, but I know Shell is also fully involved. But I will bring the list. Maybe I don't have the list here now. But they are reputable companies. Shell fully involved. Shell is part of that. Such companies. There's a notable, and there are other companies.
Now, one of the events which happened not too long ago, talking about the Global Economic Advisory Council, the governor inaugurated that very council, and it involved reputable persons as far as economy is concerned. And I would love to mention a few of the names so that my listener will be apprised with that development. From Miss Aruma Ote, the 14th Emir of Kano, Khalifa Mohammed Sanusi, Mr. Bolaji Balogun, among others. And one will be asking what's in the oven, what's the governor cooking, and some level of local palace.
Well, you remember, on assumption of office, the governor set up a transition committee, and that transition committee contained the names of, I think, over 200 persons or thereabouts. I remember exactly. But we had the creme de la creme of Abia, the creme de la creme of Igbo land, the creme de la creme of Nigeria. We were in that transition committee. And the essence was to gather them, to help them come up with a kind of policy statement, come up with a program that will help drive the vision of the governor. They were expected to look at the manifesto of the governor, the election manifesto of the governor, thinker, breathe, deliberates. Of course, there were subcommittees during that retreat that happened for some days. Subcommittees you had on education, on environment, on health, on security, on this and that. And in the end, report was submitted, which was going to enable the governor drive his policies and programs. Governance is not a one-thing thing, a one-person thing. You don't, in government, you don't act like a lone ranger. So no matter how exposed and educated and exposed and civilized and informed and prepared you are, you also need the support, the inputs, the contributions of others, other people who are also as intelligent as you, who are more intelligent than you, to contribute in achieving the desired result. So what the governor did that time, this is like, a consolidation of what he did that time. Now, governance is on, and to succeed, you need the inputs of people who are accomplished in different fields. You need the contributions of people who are exposed, people who have, made their marks in different fields. So the people you mentioned, Lamido Sanusi, the former governor of Central Bank. You have Bolaji Balogun that you mentioned, that's the financial maestro. Then you have Aruma Ote, the former DG of SEC. You have Dr. Mrs. Ngozo Konji-Iweala, and the rest of them. Many people, many accomplished individuals are on this, council to advise the governor. And interestingly, the governor knows most of these people, and they know him, they know his strength. So these are people who do not need anything from Abia, any personal thing from Abia. These are people who will be bringing their knowledge and wealth of experience and contacts to help attract investments and investors to Abia, to come up with ideas and policies that will help the government advance. So it is to enable the governor accomplish, fulfill, execute his campaign promises as contained in his manifesto. So it's all about that.
One, we'll be looking at that list, and like you mentioned, they are reputable persons as far as economy is concerned and what it is all about. However, how about questions and their knowledge on the existential realities here in Abia State? They are well-to-do in their areas of trade, but we are talking about Abia State. How do you think they would merge their knowledge and perhaps tinker it to reflect on what is on ground in the state from Omaha to Abia and to other places which could be financial nerve center of the state?
Okay, thank you. Governance is not done in isolation. There is nothing that is happening here that doesn't happen in America. What is happening in America, if you replicate it here and do it properly and allow the institutions to enforce them, you will achieve the same results. People live here and go to America and go to UK and go to France and enjoy themselves. But when you come here, you stay in the slums. The question is, why don't we go there and copy those things the people are doing there and bring it home? Do it your own way, whichever way you will do it, and it will impact the lives of your people positively. Just do it. Some of these people, they don't live in the moon. They all come from, Nigeria. They all most of them grew up here. Most of them grew up in their different states. Most of them have rich knowledge of the challenges confronting our people. So there is nothing strange about it. For example, during the retreat I just talked about, the governor had said during the campaigns that he was going to create the Ministry of Aba. But it was the retreat that advised the governor better and said, because of the bureaucratic bottleneck associated with the civil service, you should rather come up with an agency, a body that will have nothing to do with the civil service, bureaucracy. And that was why the governor, and because they had also looked at the manifesto of the governor, the submissions of the governor, where the governor said he was going to prune down the government institutions and reduce the cost of governance. And you had 32 commissioners, which the governor reduced to 19. So they were like, if you were going to reduce the number of commissioners, then there was no need creating another ministry, even though they understood how strategic the Aba is to us. The governor brought that idea, but this was an idea coming from a group of people that were gathered somewhere. And that was what led to the creation of Greater Aba Development Authority. which is now going to serve as a platform for the rejuvenation.
Is he up and running at the moment?
Of course. Don't forget that the House of Assembly passed the law and the governor sent it. I've taken off. A lot of things are going to happen there. Even this stoppage of street trading and other things, they are going to handle it. Or the structural deficits that you see here and there in building construction, because we want to build the government wants to set up a building laboratory in Abia first. I think we're starting with Abia before coming to my. So it is GADA, and the UCD and all the rest of them. The poor building plans and all the rest of them, quality building you see here and there that needs to collapse.
Okay, where go? The governor visited the Southeast representative, or he came to the state basically in tandem with the police recruitment exercise, which was ongoing not too far from here. Where I'm talking about the Southeast representative, the Police Service Commission, Mr. Onyemu Chenamani, and the governor decried. Both of them expressed dissatisfaction in the what you can describe as nonchalant attitude from Abia youths to apply and to be absorbed into the police police service, and of course become constables to serve the nation and represent the state there. What do you think is the reason for the how do I describe it? You know what I'm talking about? Yes.
Lack of interest. Well, it's unfortunate, but our own is just to do the right thing. It's a collective thing. Orientation is very important at this point in time. I may not have one answer as to what is responsible for it. But there are a whole lot of factors. And you live in a country where injustice seems to be the order of the day, and people begin to lose interest in what is happening in the country. This is the consequences, or this is some of the ways people express their grievances or anger and frustration and disappointment. That is the truth. Over time, over the years, especially since the return of democracy, rightly, people do not feel they've been rightly treated in the country. People do not feel they have been given that real sense of inclusion. And this was what led to all the agitations we had here and there. That is the truth. So when people begin to lose confidence, a certain group of people, a section of the country begin to lose interest in what is happening in the country, they look for a way to begin to alienate themselves. But then it is incumbent on us to let our people know, especially those who are within the age bracket of being recruited into the police force, to know that it is not the best decision to take. Nothing is static. The country can remain the way it is. People who thought that occupying political power, seizing everything, will transform their place, make them better, have not fared better than some of our people. So it's a process. We just need to get involved. Over time, we begin to, assert our authority and reclaim our position and all the rest of them. But we need to be fully involved. But then, we as a government, we have a responsibility. We have a huge task of giving our people the right enlightenment and orientation to understand that it's important that we get involved. Very important.
That it's important to get involved.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Please, I want to ask you. There's something I want to ask you if you can just give us the feedback. Because there's a day I think on 29th or 20 something of December, you come and you're on air. So, but we are currently people watching for this. But that day, I was like, I heard you that day you say that you people comment at least before 30th or 31st that you to clear the arrears of workers, parastatals, and pension. But now, nothing has been happening. What is going on?
You raised for which had to do with payment of arrears of pension owed for years. Of course, I did make that promise in line with the promise the governor made. I can assure you that nobody has reneged, from that promise, and nobody is going to renege, because it's very sacrosanct. It's of utmost importance to us. The governor had, during his New Year broadcasts, explained the hitches we encountered. Some of us knew that the amount was humongous. I remember when the governor was campaigning and he made a promise of clearing that arrears of salaries. A former commissioner in Governor Kesik Bazo's government called me on phone later. Commissioner, in fact, let me mention him, Commissioner for Finance. This is not a secret, so let me mention his name. So he told me that the governor shouldn't have made that promise, that if I knew the amount of money being owed in arrears of pension, that would be shocked. So that, because that starting is a very difficult thing to accomplish. I'm telling you who called me on phone. So, all these verification exercises and all the rest of them, we arrived at a figure. And that figure was 18 point something, almost 19 billion. I was going to be paid. I was at a press conference with the Honorable Commissioner for Information after one of our Executive Council meetings. We were here to, as usual, to brief the press. When a message came from the SG, I said we should step down. That because we were going to tell the people that the payment will be starting in the next 48 hours. But the payment was supposed to start on the 17th or 18th. It's a working day. I can't remember the exact day, but it was supposed to start that day. He said we should step down that subject matter on payment of pension. We were wondering what might have happened. It was later we discovered there were massive discoveries that a lot of names were excluded from the local government. So as I speak to you now, the amount, by the time all these things have been put together, the amount rise to 39 point something billion, almost 40 billion. And that amount was not available. So, and that was why the government...
When you talk about the increase in the amount, are you saying million or billion?
Billion. I'm talking about billion. I'm talking about million. He's talking about 39 point something billion, almost 40 billion. That is the figure now that the government is going to pay. So that was why, you know, that our budget, you understand, you had not started implementing the budget and you didn't have the funds to pay. So that was why the governor said within the first quarter, before the first quarter, end of the first quarter, we will pay, and we are going to pay. So it's very important. Nobody's reneging in that promise at all. It's in the interest of everyone that these areas of pension are cleared, so that we start on a clean slate, and it will lead to serious, activities in the economy. By the time this money would have been put in the hands of people to spend, and take care of themselves, a lot of things will happen.
All right, let's go back.
So we're going to pay, sir, please.
Okay.
From the collection of levies, because it's important this is properly situated. Government banned illegal collection of levies of all kinds, and of course in the last few days we had some hoodlums came out and started collecting loading fees and all the rest of them. Some people had we had gotten aprons, thinking that we were going to lose in court for them to resume their work, and if you go, they'll tell you most of the faces they were the same people that were collecting this before we came on board. And just over 24 hours ago, the governor issued a firm directive to the special advisor to the governor on security to arrest the criminals wherever they are seen. Nobody has any right to collect the so-called loading fees from kicker operators and bus drivers. Nobody is allowed to do so. But if you are talking about official revenue agents assigned to check daily tickets, they are entitled to check daily tickets, but not to collect any money, because these monies are paid electronically. So those wearing aprons can stop a KK or bus and check if the person has paid for the daily tickets. This is electronically paid. That is what they do. But anything that is out of that is illegal, and government will pick up such people and prosecute them. Nobody's joking about it. Of course, people agree with us that they had disappeared when the governor came on board and gave that directive, which was implemented to the fullest. Then on the modular refinery, of course, it's PPP arrangement. Government is not going to build an own loan. We have our percentage there, we have our interest there, and we have our representatives there. So it's a PPP arrangement, which is the best anybody can do at this point in time. Then what else did you mention? Okay, mention about parastatals. Yes, there are some parastatals that have issues. But some of the things you are mentioning here are very incorrect. I don't know where you're getting the figures. We are not claiming to have paid the humongous arrears, owed different parastatals. No, the utmost priority at this moment is to clear the arrears of pension. I've just told you the figure. It is verifiable. So those of parastatals will come in course. But for now, this is what we are dealing with. But if you are talking about, for example, we mentioned Asopadec, nobody. Asopadec is such a sensitive institution, and nobody will come down and begin to owe legitimate workers. Nobody will do so.
Okay.
So if you've not done the verification, if you've not made yourself available, if you do not come to work, they will not pay you there.
Okay.
It's very important people know that if there are issues, those issues will be resolved. I am not making a blanket statement here. There may be one or two individuals or some persons who may not have been paid because of one problem or the other. But one thing you must take to the bank, that this is a people-oriented government and you will be paid. Okay. This government is not ready to shortchange anyone, please. Very important.
All right, I think he has been able to respond to all the questions and contribution which came through on this special edition of the platform, the executive feedback. And it appears it's how far we can go on the program this morning. Let me sincerely appreciate you, the special advisor to the governor, Ferdinand Ekoma, for coming through this morning. We look forward to seeing you come next week.
Thank you, Wisdom.